Trend number 5. Professional online reputation management is gaining momentum. This is also known as backward SEO. If you've ever done any kind of internet marketing, then you're probably familiar with the phrase search engine optimization, or SEO for short. Simply put, SEO is the process of making Google like your website so that it will rank high in their search engine results. SEO is actually quite complicated, with hundreds of different working parts in the algorithms that decide which websites outrank other websites. And this algorithm changes hundreds of times a year, so internet marketers are constantly trying to determine what it is that Google likes and doesn't like. That said, there are a handful of things that we know make websites rank well, including popularity or importance, URL structure, HTML, keywords, and content. For our purposes, we're going to talk about content because that's the one element that anyone can affect, whether you know something about SEO or not. I'm sure we've all heard news about Boeing's problem with their 737 aircrafts, right? Their online reputation is struggling right now because everyone from CNN to Wall Street Journal to the New York Times and 100 others are reporting on their misfortunes. Maybe you're not Boeing, and maybe hundreds of news outlets aren't writing about your business, but maybe there is some not so pleasant content about you or your business on the first page of Google. So what can we do about it? In most cases, since we can't get the negative content removed, maybe we can get it moved to page 2 of Google. Pause for effect. Seriously, this is a concept that is gaining a ton of momentum, and here's why. Let me ask you guys, who listening to me right now goes to page 2 of Google? Now, I can't see you, but I suspect that very few of you raised your hands, and that's probably accurate. I'm assuming that if you don't find what you're looking for on page 1, you do what I do. Use different keywords and search again. Am I right? Research shows that 75% of people never scroll past the first page of search engines. Now, maybe you've heard the old joke, where's the best place to hide a body? Page 2 of Google, because no one will ever find it there? So, when we can't get negative content removed from the web, our best bet is to get it moved to page 2. And since there really isn't a way to negatively impact someone else's website ranking, ethically that is, we need to take over page 1 of Google. How do we do that? Start by making sure that your website ranks number 1 for your name. I'm speaking mainly to businesses, but this can also be true of individuals. There are plenty of platforms out there for creating an online presence for yourself, even if it's just an About Me page or your resume. Buy your name as a domain. I have owned davidmcbee.com for as long as I can remember, and I'm sure that David McBee, the real estate agent, David McBee, the musician, and David McBee, the author, well, the other author, aren't super happy that davidmcbee.com has ranked number 1 for their names for nearly 2 decades. Meanwhile, there's this search engine result. Luckily, this result is not on the first page of Google. Yes, that's David McBee. No, it's not me. Ironically, we have a lot in common. Race, height, eye color. We're even close to the same age and weight. Of course, he's got a little more hair than me, and I've never been charged on a conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute methamphetamines. But here's the good news. I had to go to like page 4 of Google before I found this. Do you think most people will ever see this? In fact, I have so much content online with my website, my social media profiles, my book, and even my photography that anyone looking for information on this particular David McBee is going to have to dig pretty deep. You're welcome, Meth David. A website connected to your name as the URL is only the first step. Google loves what it calls an exact match domain, or EMD. So you probably won't have to do a lot of SEO on this site to get it to rank. I know many of you probably already have an EMD website. Next, consider adding a page to your site that is all about your reputation. I have a page on my site called Testimonials, and I've included the word reviews in the URL as well. So the minute you search for David McBee reviews, my website, the one I control, ranks very well. This is how you control your online reputation. You take responsibility for what comes up on Google when people go looking for information about you online. Social media is a huge part of this story. I cannot overstate the value of owning all of your social media profiles and utilizing them to move negative content to page 2. Sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even Pinterest have a lot of what Google calls page rank. You might think of it like page authority, and this makes them very popular and they all rank very well. LinkedIn is a huge one for individuals and businesses because you can write articles and submit new content every single day, multiple times per day. You can submit videos, photos, articles. You can participate in conversations and groups and become a thought leader. You can request recommendations from your peers. You can even request a LinkedIn URL with your name in it. I could go on and on about LinkedIn and Facebook and Pinterest, and we could spend all of our time together just talking about ways to amplify your voice on these social sites. But let's not. How to rank well on insert your favorite social media channel. Here is a Google search away. Go home, take ownership of these tools. When you truly commit to having the best possible presence on these pages, they're going to rank well. Hopefully, even outranking the negative content that you're wanting to move to page 2. But it doesn't stop with social profiles. If you can provide content or get something written about yourself or your business on an industry site or the local news page, that's huge. So volunteer to write, participate at events, do amazing, newsworthy things that someone will take notice of. When other sites feature your content or write about you, Google will definitely take note. Sites like these often have a lot of authority, and you may find that your presence on these sites has a long-term effect. In this example, I spoke at an event for the Arizona Innovation Marketing Association, and they wrote an article about my keynote that has gotten a ton of attention online. That was in 2014, and it's still impacting my online reputation. Here's one you may not have heard of or thought of, and this can be relevant as a business or an individual. Create content that isn't necessarily business related. For example, maybe your company has a softball team or participates in some other extracurricular activity. In my hometown of Kansas City, there are a lot of barbecue competitions. It's not uncommon for businesses to participate in these events. This is a huge opportunity to get content out onto the World Wide Web, post photos, videos, and articles about the event, the other participants, the winners, the recipes, the activities going on that day. Participating in a charity event is another way to do this. My mom always says, do good and don't brag about it, but that doesn't apply here. If you're trying to move negative content to page 2, this is a way you leverage positive content to help you do that. You can even highlight your personal hobbies online. In my spare time, I'm an amateur photographer. I have my iPhone with me. I usually have a GoPro, maybe my DSLR, and sometimes even a drone. I started uploading my photos to a website called pexels.com a couple of years ago. It's a collection of stock photos that anyone can download and use for free. Now, I've uploaded around 550 photos, everything from Jeeps to landscapes to aerial photography. I don't get paid for my photos. I do it for the love of photography, no other reason. But an interesting result has been that my photos have been viewed nearly 50 million times, and have been used on websites such as Forbes, Daily Mail, Huffington Post, Mashable, Yahoo, and many others. So do you know what comes up on the first page of Google when you search for David McBee? Maybe you noticed it a few slides back. It's my Pexels page. Yep, totally and completely unrelated to my internet marketing career, my speaking career, or my book. I had no idea it would play a part in my online reputation, but there it is. Had there been negative content on page 1, even my hobby would have helped me overcome it. So what have you thought of? What do you do in your spare time? What could you or your business do that is unrelated to business that might help you rank on Google's page 1? Give it some thought. Boeing has done a good job of battling their negative press using many of these strategies. Google Boeing at your convenience and you'll see their main website, including a paid ad and an organic result, their Twitter page, their YouTube, their media room, this is basically a blog, a Wikipedia page. I should have mentioned that. If your brand is big enough, this is a great place to post content, including the history of your business and other relevant information. Their Facebook and their Instagram. They haven't completely eliminated all negative press on page 1 because Google ranks news ahead of regular results. But even in those results, there's a news article about how much a person who invested $500 in Boeing's IPO would be worth today. Now, I can't prove it, but my gut tells me that they probably commissioned that article to overwhelm the negative press associated with their 737s. I've shown you lots of options for internet real estate, including your own website, your social media profiles, news and industry sites, and even extracurricular sites like Pexels. By the way, in case it isn't obvious, it's easier to get one of your sites on page 2 to move to page 1 by juicing it up with fresh new content than it might be to start from scratch, say on social media sites where you don't already have a presence. At the end of the day, when you can't remove content that is either negative, unflattering, or even unhelpful to your online reputation, you've got to take an aggressive stance to build up current content or build new content that will move it to the deep, dark abyss of page 2. Now, P.S. If you don't think this is relevant to you because you don't have any negative content out there, ask yourself this. Should negative content be written about you? Maybe it's something totally out of your control. Maybe it's not even your name. Maybe Meth David McBee gets arrested again. Do you have enough of a presence on page 1 that the new content would struggle to rank? Consider taking an offensive approach to your online reputation management just in case.